Brendan Robinson here with the Make America Great Again podcast. Can you believe this shit? Las Vegas. Sorry, I spilled my beer. What's his name? Stephen Paddock. What an asshole. Let's just get that out of the way. What an asshole, right? Okay, we can all agree. Despite whatever the motive or what, just dude killed at least. I just got done watching Tucker Carlson. 59 confirmed dead and 500 plus injured. Okay, so that's the numbers as of 8 o'clock. It's been less than 24 hours. So who knows? I know there's still at least like 50 some in critical condition, so there could be some more deaths still, and that number might still rise a few before we get out of here. But we're at least 59, and then 500 plus injured. Think about that for a second. Like the Pulse nightclub was bad. Like some 50 some people died there too, like almost as many, right? But the amount of injured, like pretty much everyone that got injured was pretty much dead. And that, again, not lessening that. It sucks, okay? But we're talking like less than 200 people directly shot and injured by bullets. This is like 500 plus. This is like, this dude put off a lot of rounds, is all I'm saying. I mean, he had 2 different positions in his hotel. At least, supposedly. Okay, we'll get into that. But, the photos show 2 separate holes in the the hotel room. His hotel room was like a nice suite with 2 rooms, and at least the police say he had multiple positions set up for sniping. All right, and it's not determined yet whether he just shot the windows out or he had a tool to bust them out. But obviously this is very well planned, so I'm sure he could have brought a hammer to bust a window out. Okay, I mean, from the pictures of the windows, if you look. It does just look like someone fucking hit him out, but who knows? He could have just shot him out with a shotgun too or something. Again, maybe they'll actually tell us, but either way. The interesting part about that is, so the cops, I'm going to go on a complete conspiracy theory fucking tangent for a second, but, there's a picture floating around that shows the gunshots coming from like a different floor while it's happening, with... And, we haven't figured out what that is. It's probably like reflection of the windows or some shit. But still, like, it looks suspicious because it's like definitely not where like the windows are all busted out and shit. It's like, a good 10 floors below that. Again, it's probably like reflection or, some kind of flash bouncing off the fountain or some shit. Who knows? But still, like, there's that image out there. So, fuel for the conspiracy theorist in you to want to say that it wasn't even that guy. And I mean, because honestly, like, he's dead, obviously. We don't have like video of them busting in and like shooting him. So for all we know, there were initial reports that he killed himself before they came in, and for all we know that's true. So if that's true, then he was already dead in the room when they kicked the door in or blew the door in and whatever, breached it. So if he was already dead, then how do we even know that was actually he was actually shooting? How do we know that it wasn't another? Because what we know for sure, this is a definite fact. Okay, like no one disputes this. He did have a camera system set up so that he could see the police coming. All right, so this is a definite, everyone agrees, he had cameras so that he could see what was going on in the hallways and shit, on his floor and in the elevators probably or something. Okay, so and there's also at least one report that he had a camera system on himself too. I'm not sure if he was live streaming it or recording it. Not sure. Again, because they haven't told us really much about that. But okay, so the point is, he definitely had cameras. He definitely because at one point a security guard came up to the door and he actually shot the security guard through the door, in the leg. And the security guard, he lived, but still, he had a camera outside. He could just see him there, and he just fucking shot through the door and shot the security guard, right? And then he obviously knew when the cops were coming. So if he didn't want to be taken alive and didn't want to chance it, he could have just killed himself, or the cops killed him when he came in. Or the alternative theory is none of that. That dude just owned some guns and was a cool guy, and then someone kidnapped him, murdered him, and dropped him in the hotel room after they got done murdering a bunch of people at a country concert. But that's the crazy shit, okay? We're not gonna fucking go there. I'm just saying, like, if you want to go off the deep end, you could go look at that. But there, you don't even need to go like off the deep end. You can just stay in the warm waters, and it's still plenty crazy because, there's been false speculation that he had a Facebook page with a bunch of like anti-Trump stuff, but that was actually like his girlfriend's husband, right? Okay, so it wasn't his Facebook page. He actually doesn't have a Facebook page. He's got a Twitter account with like 50 followers or something. I don't think he had a Facebook page at all, is my point. At least none that like had anything on it. So any kind of like, oh, he was in any Facebook groups, that's all false. He wasn't in any of that. He has no social media presence whatsoever. Honestly, the only social media he had a Twitter account with 2 pictures of him, the little back display and the profile one. And that's all we have to go on. Like, that's it. So if he did have a social media presence before, it's been wiped. It doesn't exist anymore. So, again, who knows? Because this was pre-planned. Maybe he wiped it himself. Maybe he just somehow managed to not ever fucking get online and like but he did have like some crazy Filipino girlfriend and stuff. And let's be honest, like, where are you going to meet that other than Facebook or something? So, I'm sure that shit's out there, or he deleted it. It's only a matter of time before that we find some shit on Wayback Machine or something. Okay, hold on. This podcast brought to you by West 6 Brewing in Lexington, Kentucky. Damn good beer. I suggest the West 6 IPA. That's my personal favorite. Thank you. Anyways. Not really, they're not paying me anything, but man, their beer's great. I don't live here, so whenever I am here on business, I love to pick up a 6-pack and drink it with my mod pizza I had for dinner over there. Oh, stick in the box right there. Boom. Love that shit. I'd hate for them to give me some free stuff and all, but gift card or some shit. Anyways, free advertisement, right? But the point is, the fucking shooter in Las Vegas was not like some crazy ISIS person. Well, probably. He was a registered Democrat in Florida. He had lived in Florida. He lived in California. He had worked for Lockheed Martin or something, and he was involved with NASA back in the 90s, and he had a pilot's license for small craft and instrument airplanes. He and again, this is just all stuff I've just read today. Like, I woke up this morning, saw what happened. I've just been, while I was working, like, randomly reading Reddit and listening to other people's podcasts and shit all day. So this is just the stuff I've gathered in the last 18 hours. Okay, so forgive me if I get anything wrong or miss some shit, but again, this is what's available to me right now at 9 o'clock at night. So 20 hours after the event happened. So anyways, he's a registered Democrat. That's what we know for sure. And he's a 64-year-old man. He's got a pilot's license. He lived in Mesquite, Nevada. He'd also lived in Florida as well as California, like I mentioned. I think it's maybe right across the border in Texas too. But and his girlfriend, this chick that they wanted to talk to, I forget her name. It doesn't matter. She's got an alibi. She's in Tokyo, like Japan, so like she's definitely clear. Even if she completely like put him up to it and all kinds like talked him into it, either way, she was in a whole other fucking country. So there's like no way we're gonna, be able to pin this shit on her. So she's in the clear, regardless of her actual involvement, or maybe she's just a sweet old lady, or maybe she's the devil. We don't know, and we probably won't. We probably will never know. So, there's no point in trying to speculate. The police have already, I guess, cleared her, which they also already said that, he wasn't ISIS, and then ISIS claimed responsibility for it. So, whatever. which is weird because as a, I was thinking about this earlier today, and then literally someone on Tucker Carlson, which I watched right before this, said this as well. And it's ISIS doesn't really claim shit for fun, like other groups will, but ISIS, like, they don't claim shit that they didn't actually like have some involvement in. So, I mean, I don't know. There was a weird post on like an Israeli site that said that this dude was a Muslim convert, when he was 30, and he's been a Muslim this whole time. And again, that's pure speculation. I haven't actually seen anything about that, like any real sources. And also, his girlfriend is, I guess, I think I want to say she's a Muslim. Or if not, she's at least from a Muslim country, like Indonesia or Filipino, or something. Somewhere where Muslim, shit is taken over, just like Europe and stuff. So, not good is my point. So, who knows maybe what she convinced him to do? Who knows how he was radicalized? Like, that's really, okay, this is why this stuff smells bad. This is why it's all fishy. It's all weird. It's because what do we know about mass shooters? And just people that go fucking off, and like they always are, like, there's always never a question of their motives. They they've got a Facebook page, they've got a manifesto, they want people to know why they're going fucking nuts and killing people. Like, that's like, they're not just doing it because they're like, fuck it, I just want to kill some people. No, they're doing it because they want to attract attention to their issue, in like deep down. Like, that's why, like, it's a terrible psychopathic way, but like that's what they want. They're like, oh well, I'm gonna get at him doing this, right? And that would perfectly fit this guy, like, if that was the case. So like, if he did have a social media account that was anti-Trump and pro, Bernie, just like the other people that have, killed people in the last several months, and shot people and stuff. People just upset at the wrong people, really, because the Bernie people should be upset at the Democrats because they're the ones that fucked Bernie out of the election. Bernie could have possibly been our president. I would have hated that, but Jesus Christ, he could have been. And like, think about it. Like, there were enough people like me, because I voted for Obama. I was not conservative at all before the last 2 years. There was enough people like me that, like, before Bernie told me that I didn't know what it was like to be poor because I'm white, before he said that, I was kind of on board. Like, and it was before he got too crazy with the whole, like, free everything as well, too, okay? But, like, he didn't sound like, and that was, again, before Trump was even, like, declared running. Like, Bernie was doing this shit before Trump was even running for president, officially, okay? So, like, if it was Bernie or Hillary, and again, I'm a liberal kind of voted Democrat before person, obviously Bernie sounds way better than the devil Hillary, because even me as a fucking Democrat knew that Hillary was terrible. Oh my fucking God, Like, ugh. Anyways, so the point is, like, once Bernie, like, started shitting all over me and my, like, I grew up poor and white, so that, like, and he told me that I can't do that. Like, I'm not as poor as, I guess, people that are darker skinned than me. If you have melanin in your skin, then you can't, whatever. That's fucking ridiculous, okay? And so that's where he lost me. I was like, I guess I can't be with Bernie anymore. And I got off that train. And then I was like, the fuck? And then Trump looked awful good when he started telling all those Republicans they were bitches. And he's just anti-establishment as they came. And he was a fucking Democrat before he was a Republican. So, it was perfect. I'm like, yeah, I'm great. Like, fucking rock on. Like, tell them guys to fuck off. That's fantastic. I couldn't give a bigger middle finger to this whole, like, presidential bullshit. And again, like, just to throw this out there, I did not want to vote for Obama in 2008. I wanted to vote for Ron Paul. I even gave money to his campaign. and I saw how bad the media just fucked him out of everything. He was the original Bernie, okay? Like, Ron Paul was the original Bernie. He got completely shafted. He had more, like, the problem is that the Republican people didn't give a shit. It wasn't, like, his base weren't Republicans. So then when the Republicans fucked him, there was no Republican outcry. Where, it was a libertarian people. And, that doesn't, they didn't give a shit about us. So, he had more donations than like half the candidates. He was like in like second or third at one point in donations. And it was all from like people like me, like people that never donated, like fucking teenagers and shit. I mean, crazy. And that's where he's getting all his money. Nothing for corporations. Just like kids giving him money, being like, please be our president. Yes, and the Fed, And he just like started all this crazy, people being political just by him being standing there and saying like, oh yeah, we should not be in wars in Iraq, and it's crazy that we have a Federal Reserve and all this crazy stuff, and we're like, what? That's fucking what? We didn't know you could do that. And now Trump is literally like, I know this is like, forgive me, anyone that loves Ron Paul like I do, forgive me for this. Okay, but Trump is like a much more brash version and not nearly as libertarian and morally correct as Ron Paul, okay? But still, he is like everything I liked about Ron Paul being like, oh, fuck you, Trump is that with a megaphone, okay? He is just two middle fingers, just giving it up to the world. And, just like Ron Paul was. So he's like Ron Paul without the great mind and libertarian and morals and stuff, okay? So, again, forgive me for the comparison, but still, like, this is a guy that wanted Ron Paul, voted for Obama, and now loves Trump and has a fucking podcast. So, come on, give me a break. Like, this is, as crazy as it is. So, anyways, back to this Las Vegas shit real quick. One last thought, before I end it. We don't know really what his motives are going to be yet, but just don't buy anything yet. Just like just shut off shit. Just after this, just shut your shit down. Go outside and take a look at the stars because they're like infinite and way up there, and it's great, okay? And just like forget about like the internet and news for just a couple days. Just let this shit settle. And let them actually figure out what the fuck happened. At least let them figure out their narrative. Jesus Christ. I mean, because it's all over the place right now. And we don't, we can't even like try to start to, is it ISIS? Is it a fucking Antifa crazy guy that possibly was like at, rallies and Antifa rallies and anti-Trump rallies and shit? They have like these pictures and it looks close to the guy and shit. Who knows what this guy actually is or was? Who knows what the cops might be suppressing? What if this guy had like a bunch of Antifa shit, like Alex Jones's posturing? And, what if he had like some Trump manifesto where he was like, oh, all Trump people are racist. I'm going to cut them all down with these machine guns. Rawr. It's all because the media told me to, What if that was the case? Like, would it be like civil war? Would they want that shit getting out? I don't know. I don't think they would. I think they would just like be like, we can't. We got to like burn this shit and not ever tell anyone because everyone would just be so pissed and it would be like just the worst shit ever for liberals, especially, But that's the point. Like, we can't rely upon obviously the mainstream media to tell us the truth, especially if it's not going to benefit their narrative and we know there's a narrative. It's not like they can act like they don't have a liberal bias at this point. So God, it makes me sick every time I watch the I watch them all, but it just the White House press briefings, listening to like, because 9 out of 10 questions are just, it's just so disgusting. It's just liberals wanting to hear themselves talk. Like, it's not, they know that there's not going to be any response to the question they're asking. Like, seriously, just go listen to one. Okay? Just listen to one, because, they're only, 20 or 30 minutes of actual questions if you just want to skip to the actual question part, okay? It's just a bunch of liberal media people asking questions to hear themselves talk and get it on record that they wanted, that they're on camera asking this question, hard-hitting news. They know, every question they ask is so since Trump is a Nazi and likes eating babies, why does he like eating black babies the best? And then Sarah Sanders well, he's not a Nazi and he doesn't eat babies, and if he did eat babies, he wouldn't have a preference. So, and they're well, but since you mentioned that if he did eat babies, he wouldn't have a preference, are you sure? Have you spoken to him about this? And she's no, I haven't. And then she's next question. Okay, and then they always have to have a second question that she wants to murder them every time, and then she has to as she's trying to speak to someone else, they're still yelling at her, and she's just what? You can just see and she gets this smile on her face. Oh, she's so much. I like her better than Sean Spicer. I like Sean too. Don't get me wrong, but he was he always just looked angry at them, whereas she gives them the fuck you smile when they ask dumb questions. Whereas he just kind of got red and he's just and got more mad, and which is what they wanted, So she does a better job of not giving them what they want. So that's what I enjoy about her. Anyways, well, it's been real. I haven't done one of these in a while, and I'm doing video now. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully more to come. Have a good one.